And actually, I have a co-host this afternoon. If you were watching the Family Weekend last year, you will have recognised her from there because she joined me on the couch, as it were, for that. It's a great place to welcome back. I've been watching her on LinkedIn throughout the year as she's graduated from York University. She's now a graduate at, I've got to get the pronunciation right, of your company, of ACOM. And she's doing some amazing work in the field. And it's great to see Reach families progress through. She's on the panel of influencers for Reach. She's also one of our ambassadors. She's someone who I think a lot of the younger kids really look up to, and quite right too. So to be my co-host this afternoon, would you please welcome Ella Dickinson?
Oh, I got a real good feeling. Got a real good feeling. Like there is lightning deep in my bones. Yeah, I got a real...
Because actually, first thing we're going to do is actually have a chat with Ella, and then we're going to introduce our different guests, and Ella and I will then share the interviewing part. So first of all, you've got an interesting background, going to university, doing all those things, but you stayed in touch with Reach throughout that time when often, you know, people are so busy doing what they do. What was it that kept you so active within Reach all the way through your university life?
So I got originally involved in Reach during 2020 when the pandemic hit in the 2.6 challenge. I was, quite frankly, just quite bored at home, as I think most people were. So I got involved in that and started doing some social media and some videos. And I thought, you know what, like so at that time I was about 18, and I thought when I was younger, I really needed that sort of older role model to look up to that wasn't necessarily like a Paralympian or an actor. I mean, all amazing, but just like a regular, normal person who, you know, isn't going to be famous. And I think that's where it came from. And I wanted to, you know, talk about like going to university and doing Duke of Edinburgh Award and kind of the regular day-to-day things that I would have liked someone to chat to me about when I was younger.
Now, social media, I know looking around, everyone here completely understands social media, right? Exactly. So what advice would you give to a parent? Because let's be honest, we're talking about Generation Z. They are the first digital generation, and Generation Alpha, by the way, they're the ones coming up afterwards. And for people, certainly for parents' age, they weren't brought up in this environment. What kind of, without going into too much detail, what kind of advice, initial advice would you give to parents, especially Reach families who maybe be getting questions on social media about their difference and so on? What kind of a general advice would you give to parents with watching social media?
So I think as a child, I didn't have social media till I was 15, and that was my parents' choice because, you know, I think the big social media world, it can be quite scary at times, you know. There is like hate, but there's also a lot of love, and that's what I found. I reconnected with Reach through social media because I saw that community out there. I think it's really important. When I first started my social media, me and my mum had constant conversations about anything, about like what I was posting and what I saw, and she made sure that like I was protected because, you know, there can be, you know, not nice people out there. But I think even now, when obviously she's not looking at my social media, I've never really come across that many like trolls ever, and across Reach as well. So I help their social media. I think social media really is the start of something new, and something that I know we'll touch on later. We'd quite like to push more.
Well, whether we like it or not, it's here to stay,
exactly.
Isn't it? You know, we can't avoid it, so we might as well make the most of it. And you touched on something there which was really interesting about having the conversation with your children. Yeah,
I think my parents really made me who I am, and I think it was mentioned with Emma and Ruth's conversation earlier. I think strong parents who, you know, are taught about like Reach and differences really make strong children. You know, my mum didn't hide me away from the world, and, you know, she really made me push me to do things and, you know, go and do your Duke of Edinburgh like everybody else, and go, like I did trampolining, tennis, swimming, dancing, a variety of sports. And I think that really, you know, having those sorts of conversations, and I'm really lucky that I have a good relationship with them, that I can taught to them. But I think there's also, it's good having family, like Reach is like your second family. I think a lot of people will like see that you can go and talk to people within Reach that would understand maybe more, because obviously your parents are there to chat to, but sometimes you want to speak to someone that has got that difference, that not just empathises, like completely understands and has been there, done that. I don't know, like I've had conversations today with like Richie, and I've had conversations with Melissa previously where we've chatted about things that, you know, only us have experienced, but it's nice to do that, and then parents can get involved in that as well.
And let's be honest, growing up is challenging enough as it is when you go through all of your teens. But being a Reach child, sometimes you need that, maybe an extra level of resilience to deal with the questions, to deal with the looks and things. What little tricks? We heard Richie talking earlier on about using humour. Did you have any little tricks, little ideas, little things that helped you deal with those questions and so on?
I think really to be just open and honest. I know me and Richie had very similar answers when people chat to us about our arms. You know, just to be open, but everyone's, you know, independent of who they and what they want to say. So sometimes I'll make a joke if someone is quite like, oh, you've only got one arm. I'm like, oh, did I leave it at home today? Like, oh, I forgot to put it on, you know, like, ha, ha, ha. And then sometimes, you know, especially with younger children, they are genuinely just curious. And, you know, children are like curious in their nature, so to then chat to them. And I always use like, oh, do you remember Kerry Burnell off CBeebies, which is probably quite dated now for children, so I should probably change that. But I use Kerry Burnell, like, I'm just like her, and you know, you see how that person over there has blonde hair, they're different, that person has brown hair, this just makes me different. And then they just go on their way.
It's a really lovely way of dealing with it, and I'm sure there should almost be like a directory of stock answers that different people have used at different stages, and over the years I've heard them. And I know now you know you're an ambassador at Reach, you're doing a lot of work, and I know you've got a particular sort of area that you want to focus on. So tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, so my engagement personally dropped with Reach when I was a teenager, you know, moody teenager. That's not cool, not doing that. I think it happens to all teenagers, but for me, it just happened within like Reach as well. And I thought, well, actually, why did that happen? I think a lot of the engagement is with younger children, so I'd really like to push like social media and, you know, activities for older like children. I was chatting at lunch and we were talking about doing like different Reach like meetups for the branch coordinators, you know, doing stuff like a cookery class, or doing some, like, I went to a trampoline park and I absolutely loved that, and that was great because the children, like the little children, could have their play centre, and all the older children were like bouncing on the trampolines. I think it's really important to have that.
You've got an active audience here of parents of teens. Is there anything you would like from the membership to help you with that process?
Yeah, so we're really looking to engage a lot more teenagers, young adults. You know, a Reach child is 0 to 25. It's not necessarily just like under like 16 or 18. So we're really looking at increasing that engagement. So if anybody, whether you're an adult or your child's still a child, has ideas of how we can do that, whether that's through social media or meetups, we'd really appreciate any sort of feedback that you had or personal experiences to really increase that engagement, because we want to keep our members of Reach all active throughout all their years, not just as a child.
Brilliant. Ella, you're going to be sticking around throughout the afternoon, co-hosting with me. But for the moment, ladies and gentlemen, Ella Dickinson.
Thank you.
She's going to come over and join me. I'll shift up.